Hi friends, let's talk about stalking. Specifically, me stalking you. Hi, I'm Ellis. This is a beatbox reaction. Third video I've ever done by Stanin. Anyways, how am I stalking you? I'll be very direct about it because I don't know how many of you know the behind the scenes of YouTube. We have analytics, data analytics, right? So it's been 2 days, 3 days since my reaction to The Hills came out. As of this moment, about 4,000 people have come to visit that reaction, which is enough time to get an idea, not about you specifically, but you as a group of people. And one thing I can check is where you came from. What were you just doing? Right? Because if I know what you were just doing, maybe I can make a video that you will be really into just from knowing where you come from. So, out of the top five videos you came from when you watched The Hills reaction, 2,000 of you came from another The Hills reaction. The thing you were watching before I reacted to The Hills was someone else reacting to The Hills. That was 4 out of 5. The other one was this video. You came from Creepin. Half of the people were watching either The Hills reaction, not mine, someone else's, or someone else's reaction to this video. I guess we all go down a rabbit hole and we just keep clicking through the same thing we're into that day. I do it. My guilty pleasure, the one I go back to, well, a little bit, but it's what made me start the channel. Mine was Eminem reactions when he dropped the Kamikaze album. With like Lucky You and The Cleaners and stuff like that. I thought it was a great album, so I would watch a bunch of reactions in a row. Turns out, we're the same. You watch a whole bunch of the same videos in a row. Well, I hope you enjoyed your previous Creepin reaction, because you probably, I give it a 1 in 3 chance you guys came from a previous Creepin reaction video. Put some pressure on me to like, hopefully I have something useful to give. I don't know, because I haven't heard it. That if there's one thing education and academia has taught me, is just talk. Just talk and let the ideas happen. You'll find something. Like, we're trained, right? We're professionals. We'll find something to talk about. Let's go. Oh, and I did go listen to the Weeknd Creepin right before this, so I have an idea what it sounds like. Oh, and there's a sample. I don't know what it's from. That part I could have worked harder on. I don't. Is it like Enya or something? It's the no, it's not. Oh my God, it's not Enya. It's the Fugees. Da 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 dum, da 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 dum dum. If that's a song I'm thinking of, I actually have a guitar tutorial from like 5 years ago on that song. Is it Ready or Not? If it's Ready or Not, I'll try to find the old video. If it's Ready or Not, I have a solo acoustic version of teaching that song, if it's that song. Da 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 dum, da da dum dum. That is Ready or Not. Why do I only know it now? I was thinking about this for the last 3 minutes. Enya. I thought it was Enya. It's the Fugees. It's gotta be the Fugees. Ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. Gonna find you and sing it poorly. All right, back to the show. You can go now, Stanin. I was gonna call him Stannis. This is not Game of Thrones. He's not Stannis, he's Stanin.
Gotta say it's all you. Person you've kissing, and I will never.
I'm gonna bite my tongue. I already have shit to say, but let's let it run. Hopefully I'll remember it.
Kissing, and I will never ask you. I just kept it to myself. I don't wanna know if you're keep it on the low.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning. I'll tell you what I was thinking about. Maybe I'm a little to me. But when you think about the opening sound, the ba-da-da-dum, da-da-dum, ba-ba-ba-bum. So when he does it, he nails it, but I think it's an interesting choice. Let's listen to him do it again. What I think is interesting is at the top of the melodies, he could have chosen to make it brighter and make it cut da-da-da-dum. Don't use my voice, but like he could actually push through trebly, and instead he decides to keep it kind of underwater, like in a fog. I think it's an interesting choice. To not take a moment of brightness, keeps it underwater. Or a fog. Or if you want to think about it EQ-wise, bassy overtones rolling off the high end.
Gotta say it's all you. Person you forgetting, brushing me, and I will never ask you. I just kept it to myself. I don't wanna know if you burn me, keep it on the low. Cause my heart can't take it anymore. If you're creeping, please don't let it show.
Okay, so on the last reaction video, the same. That's this same. One thing I noticed was how he was attacking the bass notes, and now I'm seeing him do that with a lot of other notes in a structure. Not going for the swell. And maybe I just like it more because a lot of other beatboxers are doing the swell. Instead of rah, he just goes rah. He's like hits it immediately like a hammer. Wow, wow. Instead of wow, wow, coming right at it. It's a good choice, I think. I mean, what the fuck do I know? It's like saying I like a dish. It's like I like the spices on the dish. Maybe you don't like the dish. I like it.
If you're creeping, please don't let it show.
Oh, hold on, back up.
Cause my heart can't take it anymore. If you're creeping, please don't.
He used the P in Creepin. So P is a percussive. Pa, pa. I don't know my percussive vowels, but P is obviously a percussive vowel. If you had a pop filter, that's what you would have it for, to keep the P's from ringing into it. And when he goes to the Creepin, he uses the P as the entrance point for his bass. Creepin. Creepin.
Let it more. If you're creeping, please don't let it show. Oh, baby, I don't wanna.
Okay, y'all can get mad. Let's dissect a little bit.
Oh, baby, I don't wanna.
He goes, I don't wanna. And I don't know if this is intentional or not, but the T, so when we speak normally as native speakers of English, we say, I don't wanna. Right? But if you were like on stage, like if you were, sorry, not on stage, but as an actor in a show to an audience, you wouldn't say I don't wanna. You would say I don't wanna, because you need the T to carry through the audience so they can understand what you're saying. Now, obviously, if you're mic'd up close on something, you can get away with it. So I don't know if he's intentionally not enunciating the T. Billy stuff. I don't wanna. But also, if you enunciate the T, when you enunciate something, when you accent a part of speech like that or a part of music like that, you create an accent there. If I go, I don't, the T creates an accent. So by leaving the T off, he can accent dropping down to the bass.
Oh, oh, baby, I don't wanna. Oh, yeah, I think I got it when I hold you. When looking in your eyes,
Also, it looks like he's got one earbud in, like I don't know if it's an AirPod or whatever. And I would think that's so he can hear. Whoa! Well, there's only one reason you'd have an earpod in right now. You're listening to something. So he's either listening to, well, he could be listening to a mixture of things. The number one go to would be he's listening to a click track, a metronome to keep him in time. He's listening to another recording of himself so he can mirror this performance up with it, or a mixture of the two. Those are the number one things. Like, why do you have one in? The reason why you wouldn't have two in is if you have two in, you can't hear the sound of the room that you're in. So you have one ear to help you keep track of what's going on musically, and another ear open so you can actually hear what you're doing right now. Because a lot of how we hear ourselves is the echoes and reflections of the room we're in. That's why a lot of times when you hear yourself on tape, you don't recognize your voice, because the way we hear ourselves is a combination of the echo in our environment plus also the conduction through our bones and in our body. It's like a blending. You kind of need the two to feel like you sound like yourself. If one's removed, you'll think that your voice sounds really weird. It's how you sound to others, but not to yourself.
When looking in your eyes, I can't believe, and I don't need to know the truth. But baby, keep it to yourself. I don't wanna know if you burn me. Keep it on the low, 'cause my heart keeps taking any more. If you're creeping, please don't let it show. Oh baby, I don't wanna.
Best case scenario is he's just listening to a click track. But even if he's listening to recording himself, it's still something you should applaud. It's not a weakness. When you are going to do something this slow and grimy, you're going to have really two clear tendencies. Most people I know would actually slow down more. They think it's like impactful and emotional, but it just becomes draggy and unconnected. So if you're going to do a slow tempo, having a click track or some other external reference point, a drummer, a bass player, something like that, will let you milk the slowness that is available without compromising the overall tempo. I see the most, it's super common. People play fast things too fast and they play slow things too slow. They just tend to veer, me included. And so having some type of external reference to keep yourself in check is really helpful.
I don't wanna.
Nice little rumble vibrato. It's not really a vibrato. Whoa. Stop. I thought this is someone else's cover. That little wobble, it's not really a vibrato, but it's kind of like a vibrato. And I think it's a cool way to end it. Obviously, when we talk about vibrato, we're talking about holding a pitch. You have a hand here. So if this is our main pitch, whatever, let's give this pitch a name. Can I make my hand straight? Can I make it straight? Let's call this A. We can sharpen the note towards A sharp and return. So that's a vibrato that only goes sharp. We can go down towards A flat. We're not reaching A sharp or A flat, but we can go down to A flat towards it, like a quarter tone, an eighth of a tone or something like that, and return. And we can also oscillate above and below the pitch. So that's why, well, it's one of the reasons why there's so many different types of vibrato. Because on certain instruments, it's idiomatic. Idiomatic means common to the instrument, at least that's the way I would translate it. So on a guitar, when you see someone bend a note and shake it, well, actually not bend a note. Do I have one here? Oh, this is a bad example. Hold on. Let me get you the steel string. Let me get you the steel string. So if I hold a note, can you hear that? If I vibrato this note in place, I can't make the string lower. I can only make it higher. So that's a vibrato that only goes up and returns to normal. Now if I shake it left and right, I don't know if it works on this one, but there's a possibility I can make it lower and higher. But on your non-fretted instruments, viola, viola, Violin, viola, cello, bass are typical orchestral instruments that don't have any frets. When you wiggle your finger down, it goes flat. When it goes forward, it goes sharp, and so you can actually go above and below. Now, but on the guitar, if you go up, if you bend a note, and then you bend, because you bent the note, you can go below and up and above. So vibrato is a very distinctive mechanism for articulating your sound. 1, do you use it? 2, when do you use it? How fast is the oscillation? How much higher or lower in pitch do you go? And there's a lot of other things you could do in it. So let's take a tiny little phrase here. Let's take I don't know. Let's do 3 notes of a minor scale. E minor. Why not E minor? Everybody on guitar loves E minor. So there's no vibrato there. So we could do the wait and bring the vibrato in. So we can go to the G, E, F, G, sorry, E, F sharp, G. On the G, I'll wait for a second and then wiggle it. If I can wiggle it slower, still wait and then do slower. You could do vibrato before that. And immediately vibrato. You could bend up. Why fuck this up? You could bend up from the F sharp to the G. Right? You could do crazy wide. Can I do wide? So how much do you shake the note? When do you start shaking? How fast is the oscillations? How sharp do you go when you go sharp? How flat do you go when you go flat? Do you go sharp or do you go flat? And all of those are different ways of approaching vibrato. And I'm not sure the correct correlation to beatbox, but I could take those same notes, play them on a different string. So now my timbre's different. It's more mellow on here. But I have more control of my vibrato, at least for me, on the D string. Do a really subtle vibrato. Whoops. Really subtle because the string's heavier. So when I put the same energy into the string, it moves less distance. So I can, just by changing the fingering, I can take my same habit and make a more subtle vibrato. So for beatbox, I'm not sure what the correlation would be, but I would assume it would be with the tonal characteristics of your voice, that, you know, maybe your vibrato is different. Ba 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 ba, and a really tinny sound. Ba ba ba. Those are all the same note. But your actual access to vibrato could be a lot different depending on if you're phrasing it wow versus So even you can change your vibrato sometimes by not even changing how you're thinking about the vibrato, but by changing tonally how you're producing the sound. And then when you do what you expect it to be normal, the output to the recording or to the performance will be different because you've changed your embouchure, or your approach to the sound itself. Vibrato. I don't know what you guys would say, but from guitarists, I think definitely the way I see it, and for decades, is that vibrato is basically a fingerprint. Like, they're very, very unique among performers. And if there's 2 vibratos that really sound the same, it's usually because one person is copying the other one. Otherwise, they're basically like fingerprints. So for me, I think B.B. King and Stevie Ray Vaughan, like 2 very different styles of vibrato, but are amazingly easily recognizable. You hear a song you never heard before, you hear a vibrato and you go, that's Stevie, that's B.B. I'm nerding out. Bye.